You ever smile in a room full of people and realize nobody actually sees you? Yeah, that was me. The rain outside was doing that soft, annoying drizzle. Not heavy enough to be dramatic, but just enough to make everything feel gray. Kind of like my career. I sat across from Mr. Carter's desk, watching him flip through my file like it was junk mail. 5 years. 5 years of late nights, 5 years of fixing problems nobody else could solve, 5 years of holding this entire department together like duct tape and prayer. And he skimmed it like it was nothing. Well, he said, leaning back in his chair, adjusting that expensive watch he loved showing off. I appreciate the effort, Naomi, but I just don't think you're ready for a leadership role yet. Not ready. That's what he said. I blinked once, twice. Let it sit. I increased client retention by 37%. I rebuilt the Westbridge account after it almost collapsed. And I've trained half the team currently working under you. He smiled. That fake corporate smile, you know the one. And that's great, he said. Really. But leadership isn't just about doing the work. It's about presence. Presence. Man, that word right there, that's how they dress up disrespect. I nodded slowly. Got it, I said. And just like that, meeting over. He was already checking his phone before I even stood up, like I just handed him 5 years of my life. I walked out, past that glass office. Yeah, the one that should have been mine. Big window, city view. My name? Nowhere near it. By the time I hit the parking lot, I wasn't mad. That's the crazy part. I wasn't even sad. I was done. I sat in my car, looked at myself in the mirror, and I didn't see disappointment. I saw clarity. That kind of clarity that hits you like, oh, so this is how it really is. And right there, I made 2 decisions. First, no more extra work. No more saving everybody's mess. No more being the invisible MVP. Second, I was going to let the system run without me holding it together. Let's see how long it lasts. Next morning, I showed up at 9, not 7:15, not early bird gets exploited, exactly 9. Didn't prep his morning brief, didn't fix overnight issues, didn't check on anyone else's workload. I sat down, opened my laptop, and did only what my job description said. Nothing more, nothing less. By 10:30, confusion started. Hey, Jason, said, leaning over my desk, did you see the client escalation email? Yeah, I said. He waited. I kept typing. So, you gonna handle it? Is it assigned to me? Well, no, but you always... Then it's not mine. Silence. He blinked like I just spoke a different language. By lunchtime, people were stressed, like real stressed. Because here's the thing nobody talks about. When you're the one fixing everything quietly, people forget things are even broken. Until you stop, and then everything breaks at once. At 2 p.m., my manager stormed out of his office, red face, phone in hand. Naomi, why wasn't the Redwood issue resolved this morning? I turned in my chair. Because it wasn't assigned to me. His jaw tightened. You always take initiative. I shrugged. Apparently, that's not a leadership quality. Oh, yeah, that one hit. Hard. He didn't respond, just walked off. That night, I went home on time. For the first time in, I don't even remember. My little brother was on the couch playing video games. Looked up like I was a ghost. You home early? He said. Yeah, I smiled. Figured I should try having a life. We ordered pizza, watched some dumb show, and for the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about work. But work? Oh, work was definitely thinking about me. Next morning, chaos. Emails everywhere, meetings stacked, deadlines missed, clients annoyed, and me, calm, sitting there with my coffee like, damn, that's crazy. At 11, I got called into a meeting. Big one. Conference room, glass walls. Everyone inside looked like they hadn't slept. Mr. Carter, 2 directors, and the regional VP. Yeah, it got serious real quick. Naomi, the VP said, we need your help stabilizing operations. I sat down slowly, folded my hands. Of course, I said. What exactly do you need? Mr. Carter jumped in. We need you to take control again, just like before. Before. Man, that word hit different now. I'd love to, I said, but I thought I wasn't ready for leadership. Silence. Heavy silence. The VP looked at Carter, then back at me. What would it take for you to step in? He asked. I leaned back, took a breath. Well, I said calmly, funny thing is, another company thinks I'm ready. Yeah, that got their attention. Explain, the VP said. I've been offered a senior operations role, higher pay, full authority, real leadership. Carter went pale. You're leaving? He asked. I shrugged. Haven't decided yet. The VP leaned forward. Name your number. I smiled, because now we were finally having a real conversation. But this wasn't about money anymore. It was about respect. And for the first time, they were starting to see me. And trust me, that was just the beginning. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, and Amelia stepped onto the executive floor for the first time as more than just the woman everyone depended on but nobody noticed. This time, heads turned. Not because she was carrying someone else's workload, not because another fire needed putting out, but because for once the room finally understood exactly who she was. The silence that followed her footsteps had a different weight now. Respect. Shock. A little fear. And maybe, for some people, regret. She walked past the polished glass offices, the city skyline glowing behind them like something out of a movie, and for a brief second she caught her reflection in the wall. Same woman, same calm face, same steady eyes. But something inside her had changed. She wasn't invisible anymore. Byron was already waiting inside the boardroom. A few senior executives sat around the long oak table, coffee cups in hand, half-finished conversations dying the moment Amelia walked in. Morning, everyone, Byron said, standing up. Let's get started. Amelia took the seat beside him, not at the far end, not in the corner. Beside him. That alone said everything. Elaine sat across the table, flipping through the printed agenda. Their eyes met for a second. No bitterness, no smugness, just an understanding. The kind that only comes after a storm tears through everything and leaves the truth standing in the wreckage. Byron leaned forward. Today, Amelia will present the operational restructuring plan. A few people exchanged surprised looks. One executive, a man named Collins from finance, raised an eyebrow. Amelia developed this herself? Byron smiled slightly. She's been developing it for years. That hit the room like a brick. Amelia stood, connected her laptop to the screen, and the presentation lit up behind her. The first slide appeared. A complete roadmap. Staff development. Workflow redesign. Crisis prevention systems. Leadership training. Employee recognition metrics. Every weakness in the company's culture laid bare. Every solution already mapped out. For the next 40 minutes, the room stayed dead silent. No interruptions, no dismissive glances, no one checking their phones. Every word Amelia spoke landed.
Clean, sharp, intentional. She explained how burnout was destroying productivity, how talented employees were getting buried under outdated management structures, how the company had been hemorrhaging potential because leadership kept rewarding visibility instead of value. At one point, Collins actually leaned back in his chair and muttered under his breath, "Damn." By the time she finished, the room looked stunned. Byron broke the silence first. Questions? Nothing. Then Collins cleared his throat. "I've been in corporate strategy for 15 years, he said, looking directly at Amelia, and this is hands down one of the smartest internal growth frameworks I've ever seen. Another executive nodded. This should have been implemented years ago. Amelia didn't say what everyone was already thinking. I know. Instead, she simply smiled. Thank you. Byron folded his hands. Then it's unanimous. We move forward immediately. And just like that, the woman who once couldn't get a promotion approval had become the architect of the company's future. But success has a funny way of waking up enemies you didn't even know you had. 3 weeks later, the backlash started. At first, it was subtle. Whispers in the hallway, meetings happening without her, budget approvals delayed, requests disappearing in email chains, people smiling to her face while quietly undermining her decisions. Corporate America had finally acknowledged her value, but now it was testing whether she was strong enough to keep it. One evening, Peter knocked softly on her new office door. "You got a minute?" Amelia looked up. His face looked tense. "Come in." He closed the door behind him. "There's something you need to know." Her stomach tightened. "What is it?" Peter hesitated. "Collins and a couple of the old guard executives, they're trying to block your department expansion." Amelia went still. "On what grounds?" Peter exhaled. "They're saying you moved too fast." A cold smile touched her lips. Of course, the old classic. Too fast, not ready, needs more time. The same tired lines used every time someone underestimated the quiet ones. Peter shifted awkwardly. "They're calling it a risk."
Amelia stood slowly. "No," she said calmly, "they're calling it a threat." The next morning, she walked into the executive review meeting with every number, every chart, every performance metric lined up like bullets. Collins barely looked at her. "We just want to ensure sustainable leadership," he said in that polished, fake professional tone people use when they're trying to sound reasonable. Amelia nodded. "Of course." Then she clicked the remote. The screen lit up. Department efficiency, up 43%. Employee retention, up 31%. Client satisfaction, highest in company history. Overtime costs, reduced by nearly half. Profit margins, strongest quarter in 5 years. The room fell silent. Amelia turned to Collins. "Would you like me to continue?" He said nothing. She stepped closer to the table. "You called my leadership a risk." Her voice stayed calm, controlled, but every word hit like thunder. "The only risk this company had was ignoring people who were doing the real work." Byron's lips twitched, like he was trying not to smile. Collins shifted in his seat. Amelia continued. "You know what's wild?" Now there was a little American edge in her voice, a little steel. "For 5 years, nobody had a problem with me solving every crisis, saving every client, fixing every broken process." She looked around the room. "But the second I sit at this table, suddenly it's a problem." No one spoke, because everyone knew she was right. Collins looked away first. That's when Amelia knew. She had won. Not because they liked her, not because they approved, but because facts don't care about ego. From that moment on, things changed fast. Her department became the model for the rest of the company. People from other branches flew in for training. Young employees started knocking on her office door, asking for mentorship. One of them was a quiet analyst named Sophia. Brilliant, hardworking, completely overlooked. Amelia saw herself in her instantly. One evening, Sophia stood nervously in Amelia's office doorway. "Can I ask you something?" "Always." Sophia hesitated. "How did you do it?" "Do what?" "Go from being ignored to this." She looked around the office. The city lights shimmered behind the glass. Amelia leaned back in her chair. "I stopped making myself easy to overlook." Sophia frowned. "I don't get it." Amelia's voice softened. "Some people think if they work hard enough, someone will eventually notice." She shook her head. "That's not how the world works, kid." Sophia listened carefully. "You have to make your impact impossible to deny." That line stayed with Sophia, and over time it spread through the company. People started speaking up, asking for credit, pushing for growth. The culture began shifting from the inside out. Months passed. Then one rainy Friday evening, Amelia got a call that changed everything again. It was Elaine. Her voice sounded shaken. "Amelia, I need your help." "What happened?" "It's Elena." For one terrifying second, Amelia's heart stopped. "My daughter?" "No," Elaine said quickly. "Your client account, Elena Biotech. The board is threatening to terminate the contract." Amelia exhaled sharply. Still bad, but not the nightmare her mind had gone to. "What happened?" Elaine's voice cracked. "I messed up." Silence. For the first time, Elaine sounded human. Not polished, not composed, just scared. Amelia grabbed her coat. "I'm coming in." The office was nearly empty when she arrived. Rain hammered against the windows. Elaine sat in the conference room alone, papers spread everywhere, mascara slightly smudged. She looked exhausted. Amelia sat down. "Talk to me." Elaine rubbed her forehead. "They discovered the implementation timeline error." Amelia looked through the documents. One glance, then she saw it. A simple forecasting mismatch. Small on paper, massive in consequence. The kind of thing Amelia used to catch automatically. She looked up. "You've been trying to handle everything alone, haven't you?" Elaine's eyes filled with tears. For the first time ever. "Yes." Amelia leaned back. And suddenly she understood something. Elaine hadn't just underestimated her. She had been drowning too. Trapped inside a system that rewarded image over ability. A victim of the same broken machine, just on a different floor. Amelia spent the next 4 hours rebuilding the client recovery strategy with her, step by step. No ego, no revenge, just leadership. When they finally finished, Elaine looked at her. "Why are you helping me?" Amelia paused, because this was the moment that would define who she truly was. Because fixing people is easier than fixing broken systems. Elaine's eyes welled up. "You were wrong about me." Amelia gave a tired smile. "No, you just saw me too late." 2 months later, the company hosted its annual leadership summit. Hundreds of employees filled the ballroom. Executives, managers, analysts, interns. Byron stepped onto the stage. "This year's Leadership Excellence Award goes to someone who didn't just transform our operations." He smiled towards Amelia. "She transformed our culture." Applause exploded through the room. People stood, cheering, some of them with tears in their eyes. Amelia walked to the stage, stunned. As Byron handed her the award, he whispered, "You earned every bit of this." She looked out at the crowd. Then her eyes found Sophia in the front row, then Peter, then Elaine, and finally Elena sitting beside Byron's assistant, grinning from ear to ear. Amelia stepped to the microphone. The room went silent. For a moment, she simply breathed.
Then she said softly, "For years, I thought being strong meant carrying everything alone." A pause. "It doesn't." Her voice deepened. "Real strength is knowing your worth before the world confirms it." The audience stayed frozen, hooked, every word sinking in. "If you've ever felt invisible," her voice cracked slightly, "if you've ever stayed late while someone else took the credit," now the room was dead silent. "If you've ever wondered whether your work matters," she looked around, "it does." A tear rolled down Elaine's face. Amelia smiled. "Sometimes life doesn't promote you when you deserve it." A soft laugh moved through the room. "Sometimes it breaks your heart first." Then her voice turned powerful. "But maybe that heartbreak isn't the end." She lifted the award slightly. "Maybe it's the thing that forces the world to finally see you." The applause that followed shook the room, and as Amelia stepped off that stage, Elena ran straight into her arms. "I'm proud of you, Mom." Amelia hugged her tightly, tears finally spilling down her own cheeks. That was the real victory. Not the title, not the office, not the money, but becoming the kind of woman her daughter would grow up believing she could be. And in that moment, Amelia realized something bigger than promotions, bosses, or corporate politics. The world will overlook quiet people until one day they become impossible to ignore.